If we run out of time for questions, we will make a note of your question and email you privately with the answer after the webinar. And we'll also be sending out a recording of the full webinar later today, and it will be available on our website, just in case there's anybody in your networks who might be interested in watching afterwards. So for those of you who may have just recently joined the BLP network, either as a business advisor or as an SME, or even if you've been with us for a little while, here's just a quick refresher of what BLP is all about. So we are a New Zealand government-funded private sector development initiative delivered by DT Global. We currently work in 6 countries: Samoa, Fiji, Vanuatu, Papua New Guinea, and more recently this year, the Solomon Islands and the Cook Islands. In each of these countries, we work in partnership with the Chambers of Commerce, financial institutions, and the private sector to help develop a business advisory service provider network in the Pacific region that helps and improves access of business services to growing SMEs. And we do this by offering 3 main services. We have a free online business health check, which helps businesses identify where there might be gaps that could benefit from business advice. We also have an online business continuity planner, another free tool similar to the health check that's focused on business continuity planning. We have a searchable database of over 90 BLP approved business advisors. All of our business advisors go through a quality assurance process to ensure that they are reliable and qualified. And to build on this, we recently introduced a new BLP certification for our business advisors to enhance the confidence of SMEs who are looking to use advisory services. We offer a BLP Subsidy Scheme, which helps growing businesses gain access to quality business advice and support at a subsidised rate from our business advisors. And last week in Vanuatu, we announced a new gender equality and social inclusion subsidy to expand the reach of our services to include new and remote segments of the business community. Since 2018, we have supported Pacific Island businesses in many ways. And if you would like any more information on the services that we offer, please visit businesslinkpacific.com. Our webinar presenter today is Marc Gerard. He is French with an MBA and a love of free diving. In Europe, Marc led consultancies for Accenture Strategy and American Express. He also facilitated a consulting team in South America, consulting for over 30 different companies. In Vanuatu, he set up Yomi Work, a modern co-working space with a business incubator called VLab. Pacific Digital Transformation Consulting is a BLP quality approved business advisor in our network. And in early 2019, Marc actually wrote a series of blog articles for BLP on the topic of digital transformation in the Pacific Islands, using BLP subsidy projects as case studies. You can find those blogs on our website under news and updates. Just search for digital transformation. Marc is here today to present marketing advice for SMEs in the Pacific Islands, specifically around knowing your audience. Welcome, Marc.
Merci, Anusha. Good afternoon to everyone. So my name is Marc. I'm really happy to have the opportunity to spend 1 hour with you and to share some knowledge, some insights about marketing, about communication. I'm going to share a presentation. It should be uploaded. Can you confirm?
Yes, I can see it.
Okay, fine. Good. So know your audience, some marketing advice. I suggest a short introduction about my consulting activities, just to let you know who we are, what we do. Then I would like to discuss the stakes of the digital transformation and the customer insights, which are closely related. And I guess it will be one of the most important message of this session to discuss the stakes, how important it is with numbers. Then I would like to present some best practices just to showcase how far this can go with examples in, for instance, in Europe or the United States, and then some examples of how we can adapt this to our specific context in the South Pacific with cost-effective marketing tactics and tools. I'm going to share a very short So this short video was just for you to see who we are and where we work as a very short introduction. So in the team, we are 5 consultants. 3 of us do live in Port Vila, Vanuatu. 1 is in South America and 1 is in Europe. And in Vanuatu, we are hosted at UmiWork downtown Port Vila, which is a modern co-working space. The objective of the space is to gather business service providers to boost the ecosystem. In that way, I guess it's a common objective with Business Link Pacific. We really wanted 2 years ago to boost the ecosystem and to work more together, which is happening. At UmiWork, there is also a business incubator. At this stage, it's more focused on social entrepreneurship. And now we are developing a digital hub precisely to boost the use of new technologies, and to boost a more modern marketing for many businesses here in Vanuatu. So what do? We provide digital services. So typically, currently, we launch every month a website with an e-shop with the possibility to purchase the products or services online. We provide community management service. Typically here in Vanuatu and in the region, Facebook is still key to reach the targets. And we help the companies with basic Google services, such as the ads on Google Ads or the use of the G Suite. In terms of marketing, which is really our core business, we provide market analysis, export analysis to define and to prioritize the markets overseas for the companies here who want to export their products. And we optimize the marketing mix, the price, the promotion, the communication, the place of the products. And we developed some training, coaching, and mentoring services. We've been doing that for now 10 years overseas, and we started this activity in Vanuatu as well. To end this short introduction, so we've been working with our consultants in Melanesia, in Samoa, in New Caledonia, and mainly in Vanuatu. And we still have a big market in South America, especially in Argentina, in Uruguay, and in Peru. In Europe, we work in France, Italy, and Spain, and we still have some business consultancies in France. Okay, let's start discussing our subject today. I would like to discuss numbers and to see how far it can go to impulse sales thanks to marketing and thanks to digital channels. So, about the concepts. Until a few years ago, in South Pacific, we were still in the single channel situation. And then, with the launch of the digital transformation, with more people having internet and more devices, we entered in the multi-channel situation, which means that each client can access your services through various channels. It does not include consistency. So the next situation, the cross-channel, do provide this consistency. We try to be consistent across the different channels in order to reach the customer at the same price, for instance. The thing is that you don't activate all the synergies as long as it's not omni-channel. We will have some examples, some clear and simple examples to illustrate this. The message is that this is a journey, and in my view, in the South Pacific, we have barely started this journey. And in many countries, I do believe that we are still in the multi-channel step, which is a difficult one. It's a difficult one because the companies develop new channels in silo. It means, for instance, that they develop a website with an e-shop with specific stock and as a business unit, which was really an old model. And it doesn't work because it's very costly, because many people here in Vanuatu and in the region do not buy yet on internet. So there is a feeling from the companies that the demand is poor, when in reality, I do believe that it is an issue of offer. And the offer is not really developed for many reasons, but the size of the market is not a relevant explanation. Actually, we really do believe that it's a question of investments and of functionalities, typically to be able to pay online and to receive easily the products. Let's discuss the stakes. This page shows you that in the United States and in Europe, half of the total of the retail sales are digitally impulsed. It means that when someone wants to buy a computer, a bicycle, why not a fashion shirt, there is a digital contact prior the purchase. It means that the company might have impulsed the purchase through social network, through direct message like a SMS or a WhatsApp, through emails, etc. This is a very important data. And with our clients overseas, this is the core of what we do. When we start working with companies, usually they don't know this data and they don't know how much they manage to impulse. And after a few months or years with us, they can manage, in most cases, up to half of their business in their tools and thanks to their marketing campaigns. It is really key to understand this. And once, thanks to this benchmark, because this is a fact, this is what is happening in developed countries, once an entrepreneur or some managers have understood that it is about this, about impulsing half of the business thanks to the campaigns, it is all the process. If I come back to this process, this path to omnichannel marketing, then an entrepreneur or a manager should understand that thanks to omnichannel marketing and initiatives, and we will have some examples afterwards, thanks to this, the company is able to impulse, to measure, and to improve the campaigns and the sales of its products or services. This is absolutely key. So to do so, until a few years ago, we used to discuss a lot big data issues, customer insights, and there were heaps of geeks who were really dedicating all their time to try to understand the insights out of the data. With the time, we have now new softwares, which are basically customer relationship management software or business intelligence software, who have integrated those algorithms and which are really simple now for any small company to try some campaigns and then to understand how the customers are behaving and to improve with the time with an iterative approach the sales. So this page shows you as well that it is not about selling online, because out of the total of the retail sales, only 12% is paid online. So it is important, it is growing quite fast. The stakes is much bigger than the sales online. If a company knows the customer and manages to impulse the sales, it boosts the sales online, of course, but most importantly, it boosts the sales offline. It means that a client will receive the information, for instance, on his smartphone through Facebook or WhatsApp or email, whatever. And afterwards, he will be visiting the store of the company and he will be purchasing offline. As an illustration, it is striking to see that the biggest company worldwide in terms of volume did not exist 15 years ago. Alibaba and Amazon, they used to be pure players. And if they are now bigger than Walmart, for instance, worldwide, it's simply because they took advantage of this approach. It is a multi-channel, omni-channel marketing, and they use the knowledge of the customers to boost the sales. I think it's quite important to realize this, to see that all those big companies who come from the web, they are data-driven. They are customer-centric and data-driven. And thanks to this, in less than 20 years, they got bigger than the bigger companies worldwide. It's astonishing. Feel free to interrupt me and to make some comments or some questions, of course. In the meantime, I would like to showcase and to discuss some good practices in terms of omni-channel marketing and customer insight. A very simple and common one. 1/3 of the turnover of Amazon is generated by the recommended products. Means that you connect to the page to visit a page or to buy products, and then you end buying complementary products, and it is a huge part of the turnover. So it is a very basic example, but it shows that if you know, thanks to the data online, of course, we know the historic of the customer, of the visitor, and the algorithm boosts some products that shall be interesting for this customer. And it's a huge percentage. It's 1/3 of the total turnover. So if you do have a website with an e-shop, I fully encourage you to make sure that you have these functionalities. As a first step, on the web page, you can recommend some similar products as the one that the visitor is seeing. And once a product is selected in the cart, you can select some complementary products that should be useful with this product. So it's very basic, and any e-shop really should have those plugins installed. Another example of good practice that boosts the sales is key here in our islands. It is the logistics and the delivery. I must admit that I don't know well the delivery market in PNG or in Solomons or Fiji. But in Vanuatu, it is quite poor at this stage. And it's a pity because necessarily the online sales don't have the impact that they should have because the delivery is poor. As you may know, in most of the developed markets, you can order your products as on this page, and you can ask to receive them between 6:30 and 7:30. So some companies such as Amazon have an exceptional level of delivery services, and it is key to push all those sales. I think it is a fantastic opportunity in our region. There should be more entrepreneurs and more companies, and I hope there will be local companies who will be providing those services to deliver and to satisfy the customers, the clients. If we look further, you might know that on those markets, companies such as Amazon and Walmart can do the delivery, but they also can do the delivery while you are away. In this example, this lady is ordering from her office an order. She's purchasing some products. And so the delivery happens while she's not here. There is an application on the door and with the lock, which allows the company, in this case Walmart, to come in, to fill the fridge, and to leave. I know it sounds like science fiction for some of our islands. I'm not saying that it's something that we shall try to develop in here. It's just to show you how far it goes, thanks to, at the beginning, to the customer insights. There is a good relationship between Amazon and this customer. Amazon knows the needs of this customer. It impulses the sales, and it provides the relevant services until filling the fridge. One last example of good practices before we come to more real and practical problematics. Here, this is a virtual store down my house in France, in Paris. So it's out of the station, the train station. It's a digital screen, and you can do your purchase thanks to your smartphone and thanks to the application. You choose the products that you want to receive. You say when you want to receive the products, and when you're back home, they might be in your fridge.
Hey, Marc, I've got a question for you from somebody.
Yes?
Yep, so someone's asked, when you, just going back to the delivery examples that you're showing there, someone's asked whether that means delivery from abroad or just within your country, within your country.
In this case, it is limited to the United States, or in some specific countries in Europe. So
yeah,
it's not international delivery.
Yeah, but a bit more tricky to do it internationally, I think,
Yes.
right? Cool, thank you.
I don't want to generate misunderstanding. Those are examples of improved services which use a lot the data. And I know it is very specific to those countries, and that our countries have their specific constraints and needs. For instance, I really do believe that some basic delivery services in the South Pacific I don't know, even with a bicycle or a motorbike, could be very useful and could boost the whole digital transformation, for instance, in the retail industry, because many customers will have access more easily thanks to their smartphone to a wider range of products and sometimes services. So all the components, I'm not saying that each component has to be technological or very sophisticated, not at all. But in this journey, it works necessarily at the moment with data. And it requires some services, sometimes some basic services, such as a basic delivery. The example of the delivery in the fridge implies more technology and more investment, of course. We're not saying that we should try to replicate this in our countries. So some tips and some examples of efficient measures or initiatives in our markets in South Pacific. I'm often surprised to see that our clients, the entrepreneurs, the companies, underestimate the impact of social network. Traditional advertisement, for instance, in the street, is quite expensive. It has some advantages, of course, but it's quite expensive. In the case of Vanuatu, it is still very easy and very cheap to reach most of the targets within our islands, thanks to social networks such as Facebook. So with just $1 per day, you can have a good reach. You can choose which islands, which citizens, or which customers shall see your ad. And we can have easily, with a limited budget, some good results. For instance, we started a web page called Kava World. It's a social network about Kava, maybe 18 months now ago. And after 1 year, the page had already 6,000 followers, which is for this industry and our small islands, a lot. It is a lot. Many big companies in our region do not have 5,000 or 6,000 followers, although they are very popular and have an important notoriety. And of course, once you have those followers, it is almost a guarantee of free advertising, because it means that afterwards you can post, and sometimes without any advertisements, and it is likely that those customers will see your post. So I know it's not no big surprise for anyone, but still, when we talk about marketing and knowing the audience, those social networks are really a must-have, because it has a good impact. And if you look at the statistics, you can understand a lot of things about what the people do thanks to your post. For instance, this is Google Analytics. It is a screenshot. This tool is free, is extremely powerful. And when we speak about customer insights, once again, it is a must-have. To have Google Analytics, to have an account is really simple. And you just have to plug one line of code in your web page. Any web designer shall know how to do so. Once again, it is free, it is simple. And thanks to this, you can understand all the behaviors of your clients online. For instance, you make a campaign, you can invest in several channels to boost your communication. For instance, on Facebook, as the example that we saw. And afterwards, you can see how many people have clicked or have reached your web page, how many have added something to the cart, how many have both. And so thanks to this, you can, with the time, select the most efficient campaigns or ways to boost your products and sales. I believe that it is mandatory, not in the short run, but if you don't have analytics yet, you really should include it, because with the time, the digital channels will be mandatory in order to reach the omni-channel marketing approach. And without a tool like analytics, you're losing the core of the approach, which is the data, to understand what is working, what is not working. Typically, thanks to analytics, you can identify if there is a specific problem on a page. If you see that many clients are leaving your web page or your website at a specific step, it might mean that there is a problem, bug, in the implementation of your website. So thanks to analytics, you can immediately identify this. Quite often, when IT teams develop websites, instead of providing a Google Analytics access, which is modern and free, it happens that those teams provide statistics from the software which has developed the website. It is usually very poor. I wouldn't recommend to use those statistics. It's not comparable with what you have in Google Analytics. This page might seem complicated, but it is just to talk about a very complicated problematic. It is a big issue in Vanuatu. It's the payments gateway. We believe that if the financial inclusion, if the digital transformation have not been developed as it happened in other countries, it is mainly because we have an issue of payments in our islands. So in Vanuatu, if you want to purchase a product online, there is only one payment gateway with one bank, it is the Brp Bank, and you have to work with 6 teams, as you can see. It means that in the case of VBL, they sell drinks and beers in Vanuatu. So we develop a website for them. When the customers want to buy product online, actually, we have technically to work with several plugins from this provider, the WooCommerce. We have to work with a provider to implement a financial plugin. We have to work with the team of the bank, and the bank has its own provider of payment gateway, AsiaPay. So it is quite complicated. And I don't know exactly how it works in the other countries in the South Pacific, but in Vanuatu, it's a big issue. The good news is that it is possible, and it's not that expensive, to sell your products or services online. The cost of the transaction is, if I'm not wrong, 3.8%. So it's not cheap. It's not very expensive either, and it does work. So anyone who wants to sell online products or services in Vanuatu can do it. Yet, it is a bit complicated, and it has a cost. When overseas, when we implement this kind of projects in South America, for instance, not only it is super simple to implement, we work with 1 or 2 stakeholders and providers. It's very quick, and it's cheaper than if you buy offline. Why? Because those countries want to boost the digital transformation, and they decrease the VAT paid on digital transactions. For instance, you purchase a computer online, instead of having a VAT of 15%, for instance, the VAT is only 5%. So it is an incentive to make sure that the customers and the citizens, for their administrative processes, for instance, use more modern tools online. So in our countries, it's not the case, but yet it is possible to start this journey and to sell products and services online.
Hey, Marc, I've got a question here from Natural Foods International. They're asking just on this topic here, do you need to get central bank approval for setting up an offshore account to sell online services? Or can you use PayPal if that is the case?
No, you can't use PayPal. It doesn't work in Vanuatu. Because you have to say that you are a business, and when you declare yourself as a business, PayPal does not accept transactions. Regarding the Reserve Bank, I'm not sure I understood the question, because the Reserve Bank is working with with all the banks in Vanuatu to try to modernize the system between the banks. But at this stage, there is only one bank which is simply accepting, who has tried to implement the payment gateway. The other banks have not made this investment. So there is only one way to receive money from your business activities in Vanuatu from online sales. It is through the only bank who has made this initiative, which is the Brp Bank. Do you think I answered the question, Anusha?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. It's another tricky situation there in Vanuatu. I've got another question here from Mama's Life. You might know them already in Vanuatu. Sure. They're asking, what is the percentage use or access to of smartphones in Vanuatu to allow for online purchases? So what is does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. From our main clients, the statistics shows that by far the access of our websites is made through smartphones and not anymore through standard computers. But when it comes to purchases, almost all of our purchases, which is let's say 85%, are made through standard computers and not through the smartphones.
That's interesting. Yeah, I think that's quite similar to New Zealand as well. I know that I personally, if I want to buy something, I'm more likely to do it on my laptop than on my smartphone, just because it's easier to see things, and yeah, it's a bit more convenient, I think.
Yes, and we have an issue here in Vanuatu, which is that there are very few apps, very few applications developed. We are working on it. We try to boost the offer and as an incentive for the entrepreneur. But as we don't have lots of apps, quite often the websites of the companies are developed first to be seen on a computer screen, which is a mistake. And then, even though the website is responsive, it is not designed to sell. And so, as long as we don't have a higher penetration rates with the apps here in Vanuatu, it will be a bit difficult to sell much more online. But as I said, anyway, it is really an ecosystem. I mean, you can't develop your own website and put the products online and hope that it will be selling. It just cannot happen like this. Because for the customers, it is difficult to buy online, to purchase, because they are starting this new way of purchasing. Because it is costly, you have to add this 4%, and because there is very few service of delivery. I don't want to discourage nor the customers nor the entrepreneur. On the contrary, we are starting almost from scratch. And you see, when we come back to this page, this page, when we say that overseas, we already accompany the SMEs, the companies, to make sure that they control half of their sales. We manage this, we optimize, we manage the campaigns and the measurements. Here in Vanuatu, and I guess it's the same in Solomon, in Fiji, and in PNG, for instance, this rate is almost 0%. So there are some reasons for that. We mentioned them, the e-payments, the poor delivery, for instance. So yes, it is a bit difficult, but as we are going to improve the services of the providers in this ecosystem, we are going to enter in a fantastic moment, because we are going to start finally the digital transformation of our ecosystem. So there will be lots of great opportunities for entrepreneurs. They will have access to new markets, which is very important. And I'm sure it will ease part of the purchases of the customers and the citizens. Okay, there are some easy steps that I would encourage for any entrepreneur. For instance, Mailchimp, how to communicate, how to send mails to your customers, your prospects, your database. It is a bit weird to see that so many companies are not aware of the huge benefits of using a tool such as Mailchimp, which is free or which does not cost a lot. It depends on the number of emails you have in your database. Thanks to this kind of tool, you can control very easily, super easily, the impact of your emailing. How many people have opened the email? How many have clicked on your flyer? Where did they click? What is interesting for them on the flyer? And how many emails have bounced, or which means that they were not correct, and we have to clean the database. It is absolutely necessary to do this control. Otherwise, you just don't know. You send an email, and then you have the finger crossed, and you hope that you will sell some product. It doesn't make sense. At this cost, once again, it's free or almost free. It is necessary to take advantage of the technology and to be able to track those indicators. Thanks to those tools, you can be much more accurate. For instance, send automated emails. For instance, for the birth date, the birthday of a customer. If you have the birth dates, you can automatically send the email for the birth date with a benefit for the customer. And more generally, you can segment, and you should segment your database. We will have some examples afterwards. Last but not least, the design of your email when it comes out of Mailchimp is more attractive. You can play easily with your colors, with the logo. You can very easily add some dynamism with some several photos or GIF on your flyer. So you have many advantages in communicating with Mailchimp, and it's not complicated to start using this tool. Here is an example. I guess you all have received some flyers from the companies saying happy birthday and offering a specific advantage or discounts. I'd like to let you know that in most of the markets where we work, we activate up to 5% of the clients. We activate purchases of 5% of the clients the week of their birthday. So it is a lot. Imagine if you have I don't know, 1,000 clients in your database, you can reasonably say, of course, it depends on your market, what you're selling, what you offer as a benefit, but you can reasonably target 50 purchases the week of their birthday. It's a lot. It's a lot of it's a lot of additional sales which are activated at no cost or almost no cost. Depends on the benefit that you want to offer. This is typically the kind of tips that we recommend. You don't necessarily to work with specialized consultants to achieve it. Of course, we will be happy to give advice and to do it for you. But yet, you can be confident if you create an account with Mailchimp, start playing with your audience, and you will see that very easily you can start automated campaigns such as this one. And you can expect very reasonably good results, such as this one. 5% of the clients who do buy your products when you communicate with them on their birthday. About segmentation. Once you have a database, it might be on Excel, it might be in a CRM tool, it might be in Mailchimp, but there is one common rule. The more you segment, the better is your campaign. It is there is a linear relation between the segmentation and the KPIs, such as the opening rate, the conversion rate, etc. So how can you segment your database? For instance, you can segment by gender or by age. It depends on the products that you sell, for instance, or the kind of products that you want to push. You can segment, as the example that I just mentioned, by birth date. If you want to send a flyer when someone has its anniversary. You can also segment your database according to what they have bought or where they have purchased. For instance, if you want, if you are in the fashion industry, some people are more interested in, I don't know, accessories, for instance. Some people are more interested in very fashion products rather than classical products, for instance. You can segment by store. This is a very easy one. You see, let's say that you have even 2 stores. If you have 2 points of sales, instead of communicating the same thing to all the customers, you can very easily customize your flyer for the customers who buy in point of sales A, another one for the point of sales B. You can use you can add a photo of the staff working in the store itself. It's more customized, and then the customer feels that it is more designed for him. So it is a very easy one that few companies use, and it has a mechanical positive impact. Other examples of client segmentations: price sensitive or discount sensitive, which is not exactly the same. Some people like to buy when they feel that there is a discount, so they are hunting those promotions. Some people are more sensitive to the price itself. Of course, you can have a dedicated communication for your VIP clients, which can be defined in many ways. Or, and this is a very important one because it works very well, you should have dedicated marketing actions in order to reactivate your customers. Those inactive customers, there are very easy ways to identify them and to reactivate them. I think it is one of the actions, one of the marketing lever with the higher return on investments. With most of our clients, that's something that we implement. We identify the customers who are inactive or who are have a lower activity than before, and we reactivate them. How do we do that? This is a screenshot of one of the software that we use. Those software are a mix of, as I said, customer relationship management functionalities and business intelligence. Those concepts might sound abstract, but actually it's quite simple. It's just a software that registers who is buying what and at what price. And thanks to this information, you can segment and you can analyze the behaviors of your customers. In this case, here, you can see client by clients, what is the amount that they purchased this year, or in this case, it's for a 6 months period, and you compare it with another period. In this case, it's the 6 months before. And so you can see the difference. For the clients who are buying less in the current situation versus the period before, those clients are kind of inactive. So it doesn't mean that for many of those clients, there is an explanation. He might have left the country. He might, his economical situation has changed. There are many reasons for that. But in many cases, it's just that the customer did not receive the accurate communication from the company. And so with this identification of the clients, inactive clients, you can define a flyer and a specific action to reactivate them. It's a bit strange to see that few companies consider the customers as an asset, while for me, it is for most of the companies in most of the industries, the customer is clearly the most important asset of the company. And the good thing is that for the last few years now, we have all the information to make sure that this asset is that we care and we take care of these assets. So the least we can do is have a look at the behaviors of these clients and identify what is well and what is wrong in the relationship with those clients. Here, it is a simple example to measure what we do, and it justifies the overall approach. Here it is a campaign by campaign. We can see what is the impact in terms of sales of those campaigns. In this case, we sent 16,000 emails. It was open at almost 30%. And we can see how many clients were identified in store and how much they spent. Once you start playing with those numbers as entrepreneur, as a manager, you understand that you start controlling your sales and you start impulsing, thanks to meaningful marketing, your sales. So this is exactly the objective of the overall omni-channel marketing, is to be able to understand after your campaigns who is buying what. I see that it's already 2 o'clock. I don't want to be too long, but I would like to finish with this example, because it is a demonstration of the overall efficiency of the approach. In this case, it was a few days ago, we sent an email for a specific public. This public, it was a target who was purchasing a specific brand in the fashion industry, once again. So we wanted to reach 4,000 people. Among those people, we had the email of 3,500 people. So we didn't have the email of 500 people. So those people, those 500 people, they did not receive our email. Those 3,500 people, they did receive the email. Look, among them, among those 3,500, 12% have purchased the products. So we are talking about 400 clients and they spent 4 million. Those clients, the clients for whom we didn't have the email, they did not receive the information, among them only 2% have purchased the products. This justifies all the investments that we do in marketing, in IT, and it justifies all the data collection, the data maintenance, the fact of sending those flyers through Mailchimp, for instance, is because of those numbers. Because once we start this approach, we improve each time our mailings and we do generate sales. The clients who do not receive the information, for instance, because they don't have the email, they spend much less than the clients that we are communicating with. I think I'm gonna end the presentation on this note. I would be very happy to keep the discussion. It can be now through the question and answers. It can be in one-to-one afterwards if you want as well.
Thank you so much, Marc. That was absolutely fabulous. Thank you. So many amazing tips there for our SMEs in the Pacific Islands to start to implement. And I had some questions as well, but we are a little bit over time, and I have made a note of some of the questions here that people have asked. I guess if you can just answer me real quickly, someone has asked if you can tell us a good CRM program to use, because I saw you show one before there.
Yes, during several years, I've been making some selection of software for big companies or SMEs. And now with the time, as I know quite well the market, I work mainly with two softwares which are based in South America, which are excellent. Their name is Hinvice and Ludere Pro. But I would be happy to liaise if some companies have some specific needs. I would be very happy to liaise and to give those contacts according to their specific needs, because it depends on the market they're working on. But typically, Hinvice is an excellent solution.
Cool.
And very cheap. It's not comparable with 15 years ago when I started in this industry, the budgets were very high. It was complicated. Now with the new technology, it's super cheap, and more importantly, it's flexible. It's really flexible to switch your IT structure and to adjust your IT structure. It should be easy and cheap now to use those new functionalities and technologies.
Yeah, that's right. And do you just want to tell everybody your best contact email address, and if they have any further questions, they can get in touch with you?
Yeah, I'm writing the email here in the chat, maybe.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great. Thank you. There's lots of positive feedback here. Thank you so much, Marc, for a highly informative session. We'll definitely be looking at the options as you suggested. From Mama's Life, excellent presentation and challenging as we move forward. Thanks, Marc. So there's Marc's email address there. It's marc@pacific-digital-transformation.com. Belinda from Dive Munda saying thanks so much as well. So we'll wrap it up here. And if you do have any further questions, you can either email Marc on that email address, or you can email us on media@businesslinkpacific.com. Marc, thank you so much for sharing your specialized knowledge and expertise with us today. This presentation, this webinar will be such an invaluable resource for our network. So thank you so much. And thank you everybody for attending our webinar today. This is actually the last webinar in this particular series. We started this webinar series back in April, I think it was, as a response to the start of this COVID-19 crisis, and as a way to stay connected with and provide resources for our network. And it's been so amazing to share all these webinars with you. And a very special thank you goes out to all of our webinar presenters who have taken the time to present their knowledge and skills over the course of this series. We just couldn't do it without you, so thank you so much. All of our webinars are archived on our website, so you can go back and rewatch them at any time. That's including today's one as well. And I'll be sending out a link to the recording of today's webinar after this session finishes. We'll be starting a new webinar series in the near future, and this one will be hosted by Barbara Wilkinson, so stay tuned for those updates and those invites. Thank you so much again for joining us, and we'll see you again soon.
Okay, I don't know if you're still hearing me, but Anusha, thanks a lot for the organization. It was really well organized. And I'd like to acknowledge as well the positive impact of BLP here in Vanuatu. It contributed to boost the ecosystem. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Marc. Thank you so much.
Merci, Anusha.